Welcome. You're listening to How I Did That, a storytelling podcast. Let's jump into today's episode.
Hi, thank you for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
So, I wanted to talk to you about the cultural differences between America, Canada, and South Korea. Can you introduce yourself to the audience?
Yeah, my name is Katie. I am Canadian Korean, born in Korea, but came to Canada when I was less than a year old. But I'm still really interested in my country and the culture there. So I think I'd have a lot to share with you today.
Awesome. So, I'm really excited to have you on here because my background is Indian and I'm living here, and your background is Korean. So, I feel like it's really interesting to compare and contrast our cultures as well as North American culture. Actually, the biggest thing that I wanted to ask you, I guess the first thing that came into my mind, because we're eating pumpkin pasta that we just made, is food. So if I were to go to Korea, or South Korea specifically, tell me a bit about the food, restaurant etiquette, like how things work over there, and what would I expect? What are some main things I see on the menu, main ingredients I'd use, main things at the supermarket, things that are not available there that we have here, and so on.
There's a lot of food in Korea. I feel like most people travel to Korea to eat the food because there's tons of restaurants there. The most popular restaurant that people would probably go to when they travel is the Korean barbecue restaurants. So that's like all the meats, pork belly, beef. And what comes with those are a lot of side dishes. So any restaurant you go to, you would order a main dish, and that would come with soup as well as like maybe 5 or 6 side dishes, which will include kimchi, which is like a spiced cabbage, which everyone would probably be eating in Korea. A lot of other side dishes like potatoes, vegetables, pickled spiced cucumbers.
What kind of spices would you put on a cucumber?
It's the Korean spice.
Like a spice mix?
Pepper. I forget what it's called.
Like a chili pepper?
Yeah, chili pepper, like Korean chili peppers.
In India, we have like different carrots and cucumbers that don't look like the ones here.
Oh, really?
Yeah, quote unquote, like the Indian cucumber and the Indian carrot. I see it at the Indian store, and my mom is like, "This is the Indian carrot."
Is it orange and green? Like
it is like kind of the carrot. I think is a little bit of a different color. The cucumber is just way smaller. I think, or it's a little bit different on the inside, and they taste a little different, but it's still like a carrot and a cucumber.
People might be surprised when they first go into a restaurant because they'd order one dish.
Yeah.
So let's say they ordered stir-fried spicy pork.
Yeah.
And then before that even comes out, the waitress or waiter, the server will bring you out like 6 side dishes.
Oh, and like you, just because you ordered that one dish.
Yeah.
Oh.
And then a soup. And then they'll be like, they might be surprised because they didn't order, they're gonna think they didn't order it, but it just comes with it. So that's something you can.
But do they say that on the menu, or is it just known in Korea?
No, it's just known.
That's really interesting.
It just comes with it. And every restaurant is different, and even if you go to the same restaurant, the side dishes might be different every time.
What are common side dishes?
Kimchi is always gonna be.
Really?
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah, so that's always gonna be there. So other than kimchi, it would be radish. It has the same taste and flavor as kimchi, it's just radish. They cut it in like little cubes, or sometimes they leave it like long. And bean sprouts are a common side dish. Sometimes they give you like steamed egg. And potatoes sometimes, like sweetened potatoes.
Like sweet potatoes. Or like white potatoes.
It's like white potato but sweetened with like some syrup.
Interesting.
There's
never thought
a lot of different.
I've never had sweet white potatoes. I
It's
thought you
like-
meant sweet potatoes.
It's not, the potato itself isn't sweet,
Yeah.
but it's like the sauce they put on it. It's like syrup.
Because over here, everything we make with potatoes, like in America, like mashed potatoes
Yeah.
and all this stuff, it's savory food.
Yeah.
So, interesting.
And fried. Like
yeah,
French
fried or
fries.
something. Yeah. Do you guys have a lot of fried food? Or is it more like cooked or steamed?
We don't really have a lot of steamed. So it's either
okay.
like fried
Yeah.
or like meats and soups.
In a lot of Indian restaurants, you always have like a gravy, a vegetable gravy, or like some lamb or chicken gravy. But a lot of Indians are vegetarian. So Indian restaurants are really good for like having vegetarian options. But they'll have like a gravy, like a spinach gravy or a chickpea gravy or a kidney bean gravy, or they all have different names. They mostly have the same like base of spices and onion, whatever. Some of them have like a bit of a different spice added to it to change the flavor, and a different vegetable, of course. And some of them are dry stir fries, and some of them are like liquid gravies and curries. And then you have like rice with it. or you have like pitas. It's called naan. I don't know if you've
I've heard of that.
Yeah, it's like a thick pita. It's really fluffy, and you can have garlic naans, like garlic pita, and then you'll have like yogurt usually with that, and that's like the dish.
Oh,
Yeah.
you know what? In Korea, we actually have many Indian restaurants
Really?
owned by Indian owners.
What? Do you guys have a lot of Indians living in South Korea?
I haven't seen many, but I've seen the like restaurants owned by
So
Indian.
interesting.
Yeah.
Within Asia, you have so many different countries. You have like Thailand and China and South Korea and Japan and like Singapore and
yeah.
I mean, I feel like every country has such a strong culture, especially like some of the main ones like China, Korea, Japan, and India. They all have their own cultures, so I wouldn't expect the culture of one country to be in another country, especially within that continent, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's
I
really
was
cool.
surprised too when I
Because
saw
Switzerland had a lot of Indian restaurants, but
Oh, really?
I guess that's because there are a lot of Indian tourists there.
Oh,
but they're European, so I understand like maybe they have dishes from another like continent.
that. And another thing with restaurants, you don't have to tip.
I don't know how it is in India because I never lived there, or like I visited a very long time ago. But here, obviously, like we tip a certain. So do they like up the prices on the menu to include a tip, or do they just not care about tipping?
Yeah, they just don't have a tip system at all in the country.
So waiters would
even
get paid by hour?
Yeah, it's hourly pay, but their minimum would be higher than other like part-time minimum jobs like grocery stores or like serving jobs would always be higher, but we don't have to tip them, and the food is really cheap, so you can find dishes for $6-7.
Wow. But what if you do tip them and you don't know? Do they consider it rude? Because I think it is rude in some cultures to tip.
Some they wouldn't consider it rude, but some of them would just give it back thinking you overpaid them. And some people, because now like a lot of people know about the tip culture from other countries, so they would consider it as a tip and just take it. But some people, they still don't know and they just give it back. So no tip, and the tax is already included in the price. So on the menu, if you see that a dish is $7, when you pay, you just pay them $7.
That is. Do they list the dishes as like $6.99?
No, it's always at like 7 or 8, 9, 10. It's not like, it's never like $6.49, $6.99, $7.99.
American tactics.
Yeah, and yeah, that's why it's really good. When you go, it's just straightforward. If you see on the menu that it's gonna be $7, you just have to give them $7.
Ooh.
And you can expect really, really fast service. They're like really fast.
Really? Why do you think they're so fast?
I think because they're just so into
Are they
like,
just really like, is Korean culture like really efficient? Or is it just like they have more people usually working in a restaurant?
I think both.
Yeah, okay.
So they're really fast, so they care about service, so they try to get in as many people as they can. The more people they can get like food to them, the more that can come in and leave and come in.
Right.
So they just are like very, very fast on their hands.
Is food delivery a thing there? Or like we have Uber Eats and stuff? Or do people usually go and like eat in restaurants? They don't take out or get it delivered to their house?
Delivery is a big thing.
Oh, that's
So it's free delivery.
always?
Yeah. Almost 95% of restaurants offer free delivery. So when you order delivery, you can just get it at your...
Not even over a certain price. It's just always free.
Yeah, always free. I think it depends on the restaurant, but I'd say about 95% of restaurants offer free delivery. And some places, they give it to you in actual bowls and plates.
Oh.
And then they give it to you, and then once you're done with it, you leave it at the door and they come and pick it up.
They'll just come pick up your dirty dishes?
Yeah.
For free?
Yeah. And some, they use like disposable, so they don't have
I
to
feel like
pick
that
it up.
actually saves a lot of waste.
It does.
Because food delivery is such a big thing here. They always, like my sister, she ordered Starbucks. They had like the latte like wrapped in something, and then on top of that they put it in another plastic bag and like, or another like
the cup
Starburst
holder
bag,
and then
a
the
cup
brown bag on top of that. Yeah.
In terms of environment and environmental regulations, do you guys hear a lot about Korea?
Korea is really strict with organizing your waste and recycling. So they actually have security cameras at the waste bin section area. In Korea, everyone lives in apartments. 90% of them live in apartments. So there's a waste like area downstairs, and you have to correctly separate your garbage and recycling and organic waste. And if you don't, you can either get fined or charged. So if you put a water bottle in a garbage bin, then you can get caught and charged, or they will just expose you and put you on the news.
They actually put you on the news?
Yeah, this one girl, like I saw it all over Facebook, like she, for not putting her disposable waste in the proper like bin. Organic waste, that's like from when you're cooking and you're using food.
Compost?
Yeah, compost.
Oh, like fruit peels and stuff.
Yeah, or like actual food waste that you use. We don't put that in garbage.
So what if you had like a half a hamburger?
That would go into the
organic waste. So it's not only compost. Like it can be. I mean, compost is usually fruits, vegetable peels, and stuff, right? So.
Yeah, but they put food in it too.
What goes in the garbage? Just plastic wrappers and stuff, and then cans and recycle like cardboard.
Cans, bottles, and recycling. Garbage would be like literally like any like tissues, napkins, plastic.
Is Korea a big like consumer country? Because here we're always buying snacks, we're always buying, like, you know how at the you go to the superstore, there's aisles and aisles of like cookies and granola bars, and you buy these snacks, you unwrap one granola bar, you throw the wrapper away, then you have like only 4 granola bars in a pack, then you throw the box away.
Yeah. And
like we just consume things so fast and then waste things. And with clothes, like fast fashion, we'll buy something one day, wear it once for our Instagram, and then not wear it again. Like, what is the fashion like? What is, I guess I say, the fashion industry and consumerism in general?
So in Korea, I think it's kind of similar. Like we also have a lot of snacks. We eat it, we throw it out. We buy more snacks, we eat it, we throw it out. So in that sense, I think it is similar. Fashion, I think it really depends on the individual. So like for me, I would buy some stuff and I would wear it once and never wear it again. But I think it's kind of the same. Like here, there's people who would buy it and never wear it again here too. So I think it really depends on the person and who buys it and who likes to wear what. So I don't think there's much difference in that sense. It's like, just, yeah. Because
like over here, you know how we have like Forever 21 or Urban Planet or these brands that they're like fast fashion brands where basically they'll just keep putting out new clothes literally like every week. Whereas if you look at stores in the past, usually you have, I guess, like 2 seasons a year or like 3 seasons a year. You'll have like your fall season, all the clothing will be released. You have like the winter season clothing, you'll have the summer clothing, and that's it. Like these like Forever 21 and stuff, they'll have like clothing coming out like every single week. People buy it, their stuff is not good quality, and it literally uses like slave labor and all this stuff, and then they'll throw it away. Then that clothing doesn't get recycled, and it literally just like goes to landfill.
I think in Korea, like a lot of people are hoarders, so they buy it and they keep it, but they can't get rid of it. But also in Korea, because everything is so cheap, and at the same time it's really good quality, so people just kind of tend to buy it. There's a lot of cute stuff in Korea. And it's not just like you just go to the mall and you can go buy stuff. There's a lot of online shopping.
Also, online shopping is a big thing?
Online shopping is a big thing from a lot of influencers. So Instagrammers, YouTubers, they start their own shopping websites and they promote it. So people buy it from there. Also, there's a something called an underground shopping center where it connects to the subway lines.
Oh, they have those in Toronto or like other cities, right? Yeah. I mean, they've had those in other major cities sometimes.
Yeah. So it's like the whole shopping center is underground, so that it's all individual stores, and you can find clothes for $5-10, and from Korean standards, it's supposed to be bad quality. But like if I were to compare, it's better than Forever 21 quality. Like I have clothes from underground shopping centers that have lasted me over 6-7 years, and they're still pretty good. So people buy a lot from there, and I think in Korea it will be easier for them to just buy without thinking, just because of the price. Because I guess here sometimes you would find a basic t-shirt for like $20 and we'd kind of have to decide if we're really gonna buy it or not.
Right.
But in Korea it's gonna be like $2-3, we're just gonna buy it. But I think people actually wear it too.
Over here, good clothing can be like $50 or more for like a jacket. Or like $100 or more for a good pair of shoes. Is everything like made in Korea, like on the label?
Most of the things that I've bought, when I look at my label, it does say made in Korea. But so the same thing or almost similar items. So for example, like boots or like cute booties for fall, those would be about like in Canada, like what, $80 or $100. But in Korea, like I'd see, sometimes I'm looking on Instagram and I see a link to like some shoes or something else. And I go on the site and it's only like $30.
Does Korea ship, do you like Korean influencers ship to Canada?
They don't.
Oh, so people can't really take advantage of the fact, like if you pay in Canadian dollars and it's a lot cheaper over there.
Influencers don't do it because I guess they're not big enough to...
Or not influencers, but like bigger companies where the stuff is cheaper.
Yeah, like I've only seen maybe one big company on an online site that does ship from Korea to here, but they do charge a little bit more, but they're still pretty cheap. But it's kind of hard to get clothes, shoes, makeup from Korea to here.
Do they censor anything in South Korea?
No, they don't have anything like that. So it's kind of the same as here.
Oh, that's
everything, they don't like monitor anything. So yeah, they can do whatever they want. Like they can wear makeup, they can wear whatever they want, do whatever they want, go wherever they want. I guess the only strict thing would be, it's not anymore, but some schools, like high schools, schools up to high school, they don't allow the students to wear makeup or dye their hair. Or
so up until you're like 18?
Yeah. So
or like, is that 12th grade there is like 18?
Yeah, 12th grade.
Yeah.
In Korea, they'd go by elementary, grade school, middle school, high school. But up until high school, they normally don't let you wear makeup or dye your hair.
Interesting.
And so once my cousin has natural brown hair, and in Korea that's not very common. We have dark brown hair, and she has like lighter brown hair, and she had to actually go to the hairdresser and get a proof certificate that it's her natural hair to prove to the teachers. But now, like in 2020, it's a lot less strict. So a lot of girls wear a lot of makeup and makeup.
But they're not. Are they still not supposed to?
They're not supposed to, but teachers don't really. I think they gave up at this point because everyone just does it. But they don't. I've seen they don't really dye their hair, so I'm thinking they're not allowed to dye their hair, but they can put makeup on.
But do people usually dye their hair like after when they're allowed to?
When they graduate?
Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of people dye their hair after, but then after they graduate, they're like going into professional jobs, so there's no really not much point, but they do it during their summer break, like breaks or like summer break or winter break. That's when they dye their hair, and then they just dye it back when they go to school.
What would you say is like are some of the biggest differences between like the fashion and makeup industry here versus there?
In Korea, everyone beauty standards are very high, so everyone on the street, every single female that you see on the street is wearing full out makeup, has their hair done, they're dressed very, very nice, always looking presentable at all times. When you're on the subway, you can see people putting on their makeup, getting ready. They have these little things on their hair, rollers.
Oh, like doing a perm? Wait,
yeah, do you know that one roller thing?
Yeah,
the curling, and they have it on their bangs just so they can
have their bangs curled in time.
Yeah, so they leave it on there while they're doing their makeup.
And they take it out before they get into work?
Yeah.
That's so cool.
And sometimes you see them just walking on the street with it on. Like they come out, like students come out of the bus and they just have their thing on their head, and then they take it off before they go to school.
Wow.
But that's very normal. So if someone sees a girl doing that, no one says like, hey, she has this pink like roller on her forehead. Like no one says that because that's how normal it is. And guys also wear makeup, and it's very normal for them to wear makeup. So they wear makeup like not like full on makeup like girls where they wear like pink eyeshadow or like blue eyeshadow, purple. They don't wear eyeshadow, they just wear like face makeup, like foundation or BB cream or tinted sunscreen.
Just to like even out their skin tone and make it lighter?
Yeah.
Or like do they? I know in India like everybody it like goes towards like, oh, we want light skin. They advertise creams that make your skin lighter. Like it's called Fair and Lovely. That's one cream. Do they have like everybody should be fair skinned, that kind of thing over there?
Like maybe like 10 years ago they kind of had that, but now they don't really have that kind of.
Yeah. I mean, everybody in Korea is probably pretty fair skinned anyways.
They are fair skinned, but now they like to match their foundation color exactly to the color of their skin just to be natural. Some of them are actually starting to bronze a lot because they're starting to get into American
like being tanned and that kind of thing?
Like not fully being tan, but like they don't really like to go lighter than they are. I feel like they just keep it natural now.
Do girls wear natural makeup looks, or do they go all out where they have pink eyeshadow sometimes or blue eyeshadow? Like, what is their makeup palette like usually?
I feel like when I say full out Korean makeup, it's so much different than full out American makeup. So when I say full out American makeup, you'd think like Kylie Jenner, dark eyebrows, full on like eyeshadow, lip liner, bronzer. But in Korea, full on makeup would be like a lot of glitter eyeshadows.
Really?
Your eyebrows are done, blush. They do bronzer, but not as much. So even if they do a full makeup look, it doesn't look like a full glam.
What about like highlighter, mascara, lip liner, lipstick?
They don't really use lip liner. They use...
Or not lip, like they don't really care to make their lips look fatter.
Yeah, they don't really care to do that. They don't overline their lips, and they don't really wear a lot of bronzer. But everything's kind of natural on the face. So when you first look at someone, you don't notice like, oh, she has bronzer, oh, she has highlighter.
Oh, I see. What about lipstick colors though?
Lipstick colors, they use a lot of orange tints. Orange, red, pink, nude. Eyeshadow palettes, you would expect a lot of nudes and sparkles.
And they go like that to work? Like
Yeah.
sparkle eyeshadow?
Yeah.
So when you said that guys wear makeup, can you talk a bit more about that?
Because of the whole like K-pop industry and K-pop guy groups that wear makeup when they perform. Yeah, it's been normalized because a lot of celebrities wear makeup, so wearing makeup would be kind of seen as something both genders would do. So for example, like both males and females can wear lotion, right? But girls might wear scented lotions or lotions with like glitter in it, sparkles in it, but guys just would wear the plain lotion. So in makeup, that would be like guys would just do the basics. So they would just wear foundation or a tinted sunscreen to level out their skin color and maybe fill in their eyebrows. But girls, they would actually wear eyeshadow, sparkles, highlight, lipstick. Guys would wear like tinted lip balms to maybe like make them look more alive with a color like more redder lips or something like that. But guys don't really go full out when I say they wear makeup, so I think that's why it's kind of normal in Korea for guys to wear makeup.
How has K-pop grown in the last 10 years? Was it always this big?
It was big, but not to other countries.
I feel like I've only started hearing about K-pop in the last couple of years.
Yeah, so K-pop has gotten big within the last couple of years.
Like all these boy bands coming out, like they've always been there?
Yeah, so they've always been there. So K-pop has been a huge thing in Korea, but it wasn't known to other countries as well, so people weren't familiar with it. But once BTS came out and Blackpink went to Coachella and all of that, it's gotten so big in the past couple of years. I would say maybe in the last 2 years, 2 or 3 years, I think 2 years it's gotten big. But BTS has been a group for about 6-7 years now, and no one has known about them. Have you heard about BTS?
Yeah.
They were the least popular group in Korea about 6 years ago. No one knew about them. No one came to their fan meetings up until a couple years ago when they suddenly got so big in North America.
How did that happen?
That I actually don't know.
Oh, let's read about it.
I think maybe it might have been a song that kind of went viral. I've heard that they were probably one of the least popular groups in Korea about 6 years ago, as well as Blackpink. Blackpink they were always popular in Korea from the moment they started their group. So that's a little different. K-pop has been pretty like big in Korea and just been normalized in North America recently.
Do boys wear makeup like in general everyday look?
They don't wear it in their everyday look. Guys would they dress really nice too. They don't wear makeup every day, but sometimes you can see like guys on the street, you can tell their skin is very nice and you can tell they're wearing some sort of makeup. Who knows what it's for? Maybe they're going to a job interview. So like if they're going to school, they don't wear it.
What about hairstyles? How do they usually style their hair? Yeah.
Normally girls, they like to I feel like Koreans have straight hair, so they like to like curl
I've
their
never seen a
hair.
Korean with curly hair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they like to curl their hair, and guys, they use little mini straighteners to style their hair too. So
cool.
their hair always looks good.
Mini hair straighteners for guys?
Have you heard of it?
I've never heard of that.
Because guys have shorter hair, right?
Yeah.
So they use mini hair straighteners.
Wow.
And they just like style their hair. They kind of make waves to it.
Wow.
To make volume. I know here guys, they just like use gel and they just like put it up.
Yeah.
But guys in Korea, they go full up. Like they use straighteners and they like curl their hair a little bit and they make waves. And they actually post a lot of YouTube videos on how they do their hair.
Okay, so I pulled up the article about BTS, how a boy band from South Korea became the biggest in the world. This was from 2019, last year in June. And it said that, okay, so the Beatles became famous in like the 1960s. And now, BTS is actually pretty similar to the Beatles. I think that's what people kind of saw in them, at least what this article says. In April, BTS became only the third group in 50 years to have 3 #1 albums on the Billboard 200 charts in less than a year. That's a lot of information.
You know what's funny though? People in Korea aren't big fans of BTS or Blackpink. It's not like they hate them or they don't like them. It's just, I think their audience is more towards North America. Actually. So their fan base is there's a lot of like foreigners.
Because it said that the other 2 groups on that Billboard 200 charts were the Beatles and the Monkees, and now BTS became just #1 pretty quickly. 6 years ago, BTS released their music video No More Dream. The group was like rebellious bad boys. They had like gold chain, bandana. Really?
Yeah, they did.
They used to look like that. They had like the black eyeliner.
Yeah, they looked so different.
They had aggressive, rap-heavy music.
That's not very common in Korea, so I think that's why they had like not a lot of fans. A couple years ago, maybe last year, that's when they really hit. They've just been like known worldwide.
They were all between 15 to 20 years old when they started.
And now they're still young. They're like early 20s now.
In terms of the music industry, what kind of music do people like to listen to? And do you guys have like a radio? People always tune into common music channels on the radio and stuff.
If you look at the top music chart, it's always foreign music. Really? So North American music. So if you just look at the top music chart, it's a lot of North American music. But if we were to talk about Korean music in particular, so a lot of ballad songs, which are like slow, sappy love songs, they're played a lot in like Korean dramas. That type of music is really popular, as well as just the typical K-pop music. And like I said, foreign music is really popular in
But like
Korea.
Not rap and hip-hop too much.
I think it really depends on the person. Rap is also really popular. They have a really popular rap TV show, like rap battle TV show. But majority would be like the typical Korean K-pop. Rap music itself is popular. So they do listen to rap music. But punk and rock, I don't think are that popular in Korea.
What about Korean dramas? Like in Indian dramas, they are so dramatic. Let me give you some examples. A lot of them have the same storyline. It's like there's a husband and wife, there's an evil mother-in-law. The husband dies and then he somehow comes back to life and steps through the door. Or someone else who looks exactly like him comes back to life. They're so dramatic because if anything happens, they'll zoom in on each person's face like 3 times. And there's a couple scenes. There's one scene where this girl, she fell down the stairs. And she kept falling for like literally 3 minutes, where it was just her, slow motion, falling, and everybody's face as she was falling. I have to show you this. And then there was one where like this girl, she fell, hit her head, and got pushed into a suitcase. And then somebody closed the suitcase, and then she got like carried away on the water. And her husband's like, I can't find her. And she's like in the suitcase. And somehow is just getting like mailed away.
Oh my God.
And then there's another one where this girl, like, this person like slipped on a curtain and it just somehow the curtain like wrapped itself around their neck. They somehow got like entangled in the curtain, so it looks like they were hanging themselves. Like it's so confusing. It's very, very dramatic. And I'm wondering if Korean dramas are like that.
It is dramatic, but not in that sense of dramatic. So for example, like you said, the one where they fell in a suitcase and then...
Yeah.
Like in Korea, in Korean dramas, it's dramatic, but it's realistic. So it's things that can actually happen in real life. That's why people who watch Korean dramas, they get so into it that they think that this can actually happen in real life. A couple years ago, it used to be the dramatic, like typical mean stepmom with the sister-in-law trying to like put the girl and the husband apart, like that kind of thing. Yeah. But nowadays, a lot of young people are in Korean dramas, and it's a lot of like love mystery. It's kind of to the point where you get so into it that when it's done, you feel so lost because it's like, what am I gonna watch?
TV shows too.
Yeah.
Does Korea have its own Netflix, like Netflix Korea? India has like a Netflix India.
Yeah, they do have Netflix Korea.
What do people usually watch on TV? Or do people, are they now going towards YouTube and Netflix and like not really watching TV as much?
We can still watch whatever's on TV like on our phones, right? YouTube is a big thing now. Everyone watches YouTube videos. The Koreans watch a lot of reality TV shows. So there's a lot of reality TV shows. Like there's a show where a dad takes care of the kids all week without the mom. It's a lot of reality TV shows or funny reality shows that people like to watch.
Like we had I think it was the Property Brothers or like Selling Sunset, where there's like reality TV shows based on like buying or selling houses or like renovating and all these other things, interior design. And then there's like John and Kate plus 8, or like the mom whose daughter Honey Boo Boo.
Oh yeah.
There were like ones about families, right? And then there's one about like decluttering with Marie Kondo. I think that's part of a reality show. I think
Keeping Up with the Kardashians.
Yeah, Keeping Up with the Kardashians.
But I feel like reality shows in Korea are a lot different than what you see here. The editing is key in Korea. They edit reality shows and they put captions, and the way that they film things, it just makes it so like entertaining and funny. But here, if you're watching a reality show, it's just boring. Like, they just literally film you. You would have to actually watch it to understand what it is. But
is there anything on Netflix you'd recommend?
On Netflix, it's called Men on a Mission. That would be like an example of how they edit shows and TV shows in Korea.
So now let's talk about the education system there, because in America, as we know, we have, like 4 years. We have elementary school right up to 8th grade, and then I think you're like 13 or 14, you get into 9th grade, and then you have high school, 4 years, and then you have university, which is usually a 4-year program. And then we have colleges, which can be 2 or 3-year programs. But then I think in India, I haven't lived there, but I think from what I know in India, their system is different, because after 10th grade, you would be choosing whether you want to, like whatever you want to pursue. If you were here and you were going to be choosing that program for university, in India, you would choose that university program in 10th grade. Starting in 11th grade and later, you would be studying towards that program. I don't know how many years it is, but like you don't have 4 years and then you decide what you want to do. You kind of decide in 10th grade. I know there's more, like a lot more jobs now, but back then there were only like 2 or 3 different things you could get into. You don't get as much time to decide what you want. You kind of have to decide early. How is it like in Korea?
It's the same elementary school, middle school, high school, except like elementary school and then middle school. Middle school is 3 years, and then high school is 3 years. So instead of saying like grade 6, grade 7, grade 8, they say middle 1, middle 2, middle 3, and then high school is high 1, 2, and 3. And then after that, for determining whether to go to like university or college, they take a huge test in grade 12, which determines which university you can get into, or if you can get in at all.
They take a university test in India too, after like a certain grade, to decide what you can get into. Like over here, I think we're usually 22. And if you go directly from like elementary school to high school to a 4-year university program, you're usually about 22 when you graduate, if you don't take any breaks in between, right? And you have a 4-year program. What's the age range, I guess, or what's the average age of a graduating person like with a degree? Like if someone graduated with a university degree.
It's really different, especially the guys. It's mandatory for the guys to go to the army for 2 years. Really? Which can affect their timelines with school. Normally when you graduate from high school, you're about 19. In Korean age, you're 20, because in Korea, you're a year older. When you're born, you're 1. But here, when you're born, you're 0. So technically, when they're graduating high school, they're 20 years old, and that's when they're an adult. When you're 20, all guys have to go to the army. There's no time restriction on when you have to go, but they usually try to go early 20s. So that means some of them are already in first year of university, and then they have to go to the army, which delays the 2 years of school.
Okay.
So it really depends. They do definitely graduate a lot later than I think students here.
But what about girls, like their average age of...
Girls, their average age, it would be the same as here, like the 4 years university, and then they graduate.
You're 14 in 8th grade.
Okay.
So you're 15 when you enter high school.
Yeah.
Then you're 18 when you leave high school.
Yeah.
Then you're 22 when you graduate from university.
Okay, so they end school a year later than us. They end high school a year later than us. If you calculate it, when they graduate high school, they're 19. It could be 18 depending on when your birthday is. In Korea, you age a year when New Year starts. So for example, if I am 20 years old right now, January 1st hits, everyone is a year older, so they're 21.
They don't wait until their birthday to change the date.
So for IDs and stuff, if you go to drink, so you have to be 20 to be, or 19 Canada.
19 here, but 20
20
over
there.
Okay.
The moment January 1st, 12 a.m. it hits, Even if your birthday is in December or October of the following year, you can still drink because you're legal. You're a year older. So that's why people, like especially students who are just turning 20, the legal age, they all go out on New Year's to drink because everyone's legal. Everyone in that same grade, they all can just go out to drink together. But here, one friend can be left out because their birthday is in September and one person's birthday is in February.
Why do they do that?
I think because it's easier, because if you're born in 1997, it's just one whole year. And they all start school in the same year and they learn everything together.
Oh, because over here, if you have a late birthday or an early birthday, but you're still born in the same year, you can start school a year later or earlier than someone else born in the same year.
Yeah.
So in university, is it kind of like here where you select the school you want to go to based on the results from that exam you write? And everybody has to write that exam?
Yeah.
But what if you don't want to go into a math field, but that exam you have to know like a lot of math for it or something?
From what I heard, I don't think it's mandatory.
Oh.
But everyone takes it because most people go to university in Korea, or they might want to go, they might change their mind, so it's best they just take the test.
But what if it's like, is it one same exam for everybody? Because what if people want to go in different industries? Like if someone wants to go into math and science versus like makeup or hairdresser or something, they wouldn't have to write the same exam, right? They won't have to know the same things.
I think it's the same test. It's just a generic test. And from the results, the test results that lead to where you can go to university. But for example, if you want to go into
I guess that's kind of like the SATs actually.
Yeah, it's very similar. So if you wanted to go into makeup and the hair industry, that university probably will have much lower
like scores that you have
to go in, because they won't have much interest in math or science. Maybe they're not good at it, or they can't get the marks up enough, so that might be like their college might have a lower score.
Okay,
so it's kind of like that, I think.
But then what degrees can people choose from? Like over here you have like 100 different degrees at a university. Is it the same thing, or are there main things that people usually choose? Like in India, people usually go into like engineering or medicine, or like there are some common fields that people always go into.
In Korea, I think it's very similar to here. It's a lot of fields.
It's like a mix of everything. Like what are the main industries in Korea?
I think it's really similar to here. Depending on where you're living in Korea, there could be a lot of tech jobs, there could be a lot of engineering jobs, there could be a lot of like medical doctors, nurses.
Is Korea big for engineering? Technology,
yeah.
A lot of like software and all this kind of stuff.
So for electronics and technology, they have LG and Samsung, the top two main companies, and then cars they have Hyundai and Kia.
Do people go a lot into like hairdresser, makeup, or things that do not involve anything like technology, math, science, research related?
There's actually a lot of makeup artists, hair.
Like there's a lot of creative
there's a lot
jobs
of that
over
in
there.
Korea.
Yeah,
like creative, fashion industry, makeup industry, hair, film industry. There's a lot of that just because the K-pop industry is so big. Right. Korean dramas. There's a lot of celebrities that need stylists, makeup artists.
Once you get a job interviews in Canada or America are probably structured very differently than job interviews in a different country. So talk a bit about that.
Job interviews, I feel like, are very different in Korea. They do it in group sessions. Girls are required, well, they're not required, but they should wear skirts and dress very professional. Most people get their makeup and hair done professionally when they go to a job interview. And something that's different is that on their resume, they need to have a picture of themselves. On a resume and in general, on any legal documents, or even when people ask for your name, the last name goes first. And then
But when they ask like what's your name, do you always introduce yourself as just your last name, or your last then first name?
Last and then first name. But people are very interested in like what the last name is, because last name, it's always one syllable, and we only have a handful amount of last names, so everyone almost has the same last name. It's either like Kang, Kim, Lee, Park, Moon. If you just say your first name, they always ask you what is your last name. It's like originated from China, but I don't really know the background.
It's interesting because like in Kim's Convenience, it's
Kim.
Last name is Kim, right?
Kim, and there's like Song, Moon, Kim, Lee. I think they're Chinese words, but I don't really know like how it formed or anything like that. But yeah, so in resumes, last name goes first, and then your name. They always do it in groups. You're just sitting in a line beside a bunch of people, and they they just ask you, and then they ask the person next to you, and the person next to you, and the person next to you. I don't know why they do it in groups and not individual, but I think they just want to compare each person's answer at that time.
Are there a lot of jobs for English speakers there, or do you have to know Korean?
From what I heard, there's a lot of foreigners that go to teach English.
So there's a lot
there.
of like international. Okay, for teaching, I've heard.
Yeah,
especially,
for teaching English.
Actually, transitioning from job, lastly, I wanted to talk to you about nightlife. How is the nightlife culture there?
You know how they say in New York City, it's the city that never sleeps? When I hear that, I feel like that's not true at all, because when I go to Korea, that is not even the city, the country that never sleeps. There's restaurants that are open 24 hours. You just see a whole strip of restaurants that are open, stores, shopping that's opened. There's lights everywhere, signs like blinking everywhere from the stores.
Like billboards, all this like really flashy stuff.
Everything is just like blinking. Lights are always on. Everyone's walking around. Even at 3 a.m., like everyone's just walking around everywhere with their friends. So it's very busy, loud.
Like, what do people do for nightlife? Are there clubs? Because you mentioned people go for drinks, so they probably have bars, right?
Yeah, so clubs are a big thing. People go to clubs a lot. Most people, you can find them in restaurants drinking, talking. There's a lot of cafes. It's just a lot, like shopping, eating.
Stores don't close at like 10 p.m. or something?
No,
like clothing stores,
they're
malls?
just all open.
Oh, wow.
Everything's always opened.
Things over here usually close like 10 p.m., like restaurants, clothing stores. The only things that are open super, super late are like obviously clubs or bars, right?
Yeah.
It's interesting. And like when I went to Switzerland, things closed so early. Like restaurants, the place I was in, like I don't know about the rest of the country, but everything was just closed very early. I think it was 9 or 10 p.m. and people were going to bed.
Really?
Yeah. And I was like, where is everybody? There were like maybe a couple people sitting at a cafe, but that was about it.
Yeah, you can never see that in Korea. It's always so busy. It's not even just like food. They have like game stores, or like the
arcades.
Yeah, arcades where you can pull up like the claw machines with like so many different types of toys. They have convenience stores everywhere, but the convenience stores are very different from here in North America.
Really?
They sell a lot of like really good snacks and food. They sell actual food and cup noodles, and they give you like the water, and you can just sit there and eat it at the convenience store. And they sell alcohol there too. It's like actual like serious business. Like they have actual food that you can eat there, you can microwave it, you can eat there.
Do you have like suburbs where there's like, you said everybody lives in condos basically, so people don't really own houses there?
Yeah.
So everything's like high rise.
In the city, everything is high rise. Some parts in the main city, like you kind of have to go in a little bit. They have little neighborhoods of houses. But not much. And then you go into like maybe the richer neighborhoods where they have actual bigger houses. Houses we see in Canada, you'd probably have to go way out to the countryside to have like see large areas of land. You'd have to drive like really far to get to those countryside
So most
areas.
people do live in the loud areas.
Yeah.
Because that's the majority of the country is just really loud.
Yeah.
Over here, every town has like a downtown area where it's more like nightlife kind of stuff, and everywhere else is suburbs, right? Even New York, it's like downtown, and everywhere else is suburbs.
There, they don't really have suburbs. Every city is just like,
urban everywhere.
Yeah.
So I had a lot of other questions I wanted to ask. We're going to end here. I feel like we've covered a lot of different topics. I really enjoyed learning about Korean culture. And I hope that one day I can go visit. And I feel like I'd be a lot more well-equipped having had this conversation. So thank you for joining today.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me on your podcast.
Of course.
And that's a wrap. Thanks for tuning into today's episode, and we'll see you next time.